Welcome to this Quick Take Rapid Learning module. Today's topic, empowerment and accountability. How much rope should you give your people? Bill manages Cynthia, an up-and-coming employee who's been with the organization for a year. She's ready to take on more responsibility, he thinks. So he decides to give her an important, time-sensitive project. Bill sees the project as an opportunity for Cynthia to spread her wings. So he tells her, "Here's the assignment. I need it in 3 weeks. Go to it. I'm not going to be hanging over your shoulder." Bill knows there's a difference between empowering employees and setting them adrift. He wants Cynthia to own this project, but he'll check in with her every few days to make sure the project is on track. Cynthia gives him regular updates. For the most part, everything seems fine, though Cynthia mentions that sometimes it's hard to find time to focus given all her other responsibilities. Bill reminds Cynthia that she needs to pace herself so she doesn't have too much left to do at the last minute, and suggests that she set some interim deadlines for herself. She enthusiastically agrees. So, comes the project due date, and Bill is waiting for Cynthia to turn in her work. At 4:55 p.m., she sidles into his office looking sheepish. I've hit some last-minute snags," she says. "Can I have a few more days?" Now Bill's up a creek. His boss wants to see the project in 2 days, and he needs that time to look over Cynthia's work and make any necessary changes. Now he's going to have to wrest the project away from her, or tell his boss he'll have to wait a few days. Neither is an inviting possibility. Did Bill do something wrong? Should he have micromanaged Cynthia's work instead of trusting and empowering her? Or did it just turn out that Cynthia wasn't ready to take on more responsibility? In this quick take, you will learn what behavioral research has to say about deadline setting and deadline missing, why people often fail to meet deadlines they set for themselves, and how the research applies more broadly to issues of employee empowerment and accountability. To better understand why Cynthia missed her deadline, let's look at a study conducted by researchers at MIT and European Business School INSEAD. They had students proofread various texts over several weeks and set a deadline for completing the task. The participants were paid for each error they detected, but they lost money for each day after the final deadline that they failed to complete the job. The researchers had the participants perform the task under 3 different conditions. All had the same final deadline, but in the first group, participants had only that single deadline. In the second group, participants were told to come up with interim deadlines, but were allowed to set these for themselves. In the third group, participants were given evenly spaced, externally imposed interim deadlines. So, which group do you think performed best? As you might expect, the first group, the ones who were left on their own, did the worst. It would be nice to think that the second group, the ones who were empowered to set their own deadlines, would feel more ownership over the task and do the best. But in fact, the ones who had the externally imposed deadlines did best. Not only were they best at meeting the final deadline, but the quality of their work was better. The reason why the single deadline didn't work is obvious. Everybody suffers from the disease of procrastination. But why didn't the self-imposed deadlines yield the best performance? The reason, according to the research, is because of our biases about ourselves. We can come up with all sorts of good reasons why a self-imposed deadline should be pushed back, and we overestimate our ability to get back on track later. External deadlines give us less wiggle room. Now, it might seem that these results are an indictment of the whole idea of empowerment, suggesting that you really do need to micromanage people to get good results. But that's not the case at all. In fact, all of these students were equally empowered. Nobody was looking over their shoulders while they worked, and they were free to decide when and how they'd do their work. What differed was their accountability. The first group was held accountable only for the final results. The second group was only accountable to themselves while the project was underway. The third group had ongoing explicit accountabilities. In other words, empowerment with high accountability works. Empowerment without accountability is a recipe for failure. So what are the implications of this research for managers? There's an obvious one having to do with deadlines. If you've given people a task that takes many days or a number of weeks, you may want to lay down interim deadlines for them to adhere to. The research suggests their performance will be the better for it. But deadlines are only one aspect of accountability, and there's a broader lesson about the relationship between empowerment and accountability. Deadlines and other external accountabilities don't disempower employees. On the contrary, they make empowerment more likely to succeed. Thanks for watching.